Hello participants, welcome to ILC Bala. We are trying to decode Indian labor laws. In today's video, we are going to find out whether Minimum Wages Act is applicable to every establishment. So every act has an object and a scope under which it is being brought out. So according to Minimum Wages Act, the scope is to provide for fixing minimum rate of wages in certain employment. That is, to fix a minimum rate of wages in a specific or in a certain establishments. So is it applicable across the board to all industries, factories or establishments is what the discussion is all about in today's video. So to understand that, let us look at some of the specific sections in this Minimum Wages Act 1948 where specific references are being made. Section 2 subsection E talks about or defines an employer, means any person who employs directly or through a contractor or through any other person employing one or more person in the scheduled employment in respect of which minimum wages has been fixed. There should be a scheduled employment in respect of which minimum wages has been fixed. This is a reference in this particular section. Let us look at another section where a reference is made. Section 2 subsection I talks about a factory which is being defined here. A factory which functioned and mentioned in the scheduled employment. Again it talks about a scheduled employment in respect of which minimum rate of wages has been fixed. Of course there is a reference to Factories Act also here. Right. Let's look at the one more reference of another section. Section 2 subsection 4. In any other case other than factory also an establishment which is finding a place in the scheduled employment in respect of which minimum wages have been fixed under this act. So in this all these three sections you would have noticed a particular word or words, scheduled employment. What does it mean? Scheduled employment means section 2 subsection G defines scheduled employment means an employment specified in the schedule. That means there is a schedule in which a specific mention is made about an industry or an establishment or its branches forming part of such employment. Right? So let us understand that the industry which need to be qualified for minimum wages has to find its place in the scheduled employment and the schedule. So how does this happen? Section 3 empowers the government to fix the minimum rate of wages. Okay. For those specified industries or establishment mentioned in part 1 or part 2 of the schedule. So in essence this schedule contains part 1 and part 2. This power is drawn through section 27. So what does section 27 talks about? It empowers the state government to add. That means the schedule is not fixed. the industries that has been specified in the schedule is not fixed. The government may add any new industry or establishment, okay, to the schedule. How? Through a notification in the official gazette, by giving not less than 3 months of notice of its intention to do so, bring about those industries and cover them under the Minimum Wages Act. So let's look at what that schedule is all about. The schedule, as mentioned in section 2G and section 27, the part 1 is the industries: employment in woolen and carpet, employment rice mill, employment tobacco plantation, rubber, tea, coffee, oil mill, local authority also included, okay, roads, maintenance, construction, stone breaking, mica work, motor transport, leather industry, mines, minerals, etc. This is the original schedule, right? Let's look at part 2. What does it talk about? Part 2 is with respect to employment in agriculture. That is to say, in any form of farming, including cultivation, tilling of the soil, dairy farming, production, cultivation, growing, all these things. So all allied activities related to agriculture is brought under part 2. Part 1 is with respect to industries establishment. Part 2 talks about with respect to agriculture. So 2 parts find its place in schedule. So as we have discussed, that section 27 empowers the state governments to add any industry or establishment into the schedule. So with this power, for example, Tamil Nadu government had added almost 74 industries under the Minimum Wages Act, starting right from first one, the aeration and water manufacturing industry, to 74, that's the last one, employment in mushroom growing and allied activities. So the conclusion here is that minimum wages is applicable only to those industries and establishments mentioned in schedule or as notified by the central as well as the respective state governments through section 27. This is also reiterated by courts through various judgments, that only those industries and establishments mentioned in the schedule will be covered under the Minimum Wages Act. The Honorable Supreme Court was dealing with a particular case with respect to an religious establishment having employed people, whether it would be covered under the Minimum Wages Act. The Honorable Supreme Court held no, because it is not finding its place in the schedule. Right? So hope it's very clear to all of you. Thank you. We'll see you in another video.